Good morning, everyone. Before we start, let us imagine Mexico in mind. Beautiful, romantic, right? But when you see these pictures, you may ask, what is it and why? This is the Mexican self-defense groups. And today, I'm going to talk about the cause and effect of the rise and expansion of Mexican self-defense groups. On March 10th, Mexico News Daily reported that the Mexican self-defense groups are using social media to recruit new members. Although it was directly caused by the high rising trend of homicide and crime, the main reason is the inability or unwillingness of the government to effect dramatic institutional changes. It further leads to the positive and negative effect, which are the decrease of crime to some extent and the abuse of privileges. The immediate cause of the self-defense groups is the high violent crime. In 2018, there were more than 120 homicides happened in Guadalajara and Jalisco in both January and February, and 60 in the first week of March. Mention that Guadalajara is the second largest city in Mexico, and this led many Mexicans to join the self-defense groups. However, the self-defense groups is an actually legal and informal organizations opposite to the government. They were first founded in 2013 by some rural residents during the country's war against the cartels. Until 2018, Mexico still suffers a high level of homicide and crime. You may ask, where is the government? And this leads to the main cause. At the root of the expansion of self-defense groups is the inability or unwillingness of the Mexican government to effect dramatic institutional changes. The Mexicans lost faith in their government since they are absent, corrupt, or working with the criminals themselves. The government is unable or unwilling to provide security, so the self-defense groups actually keep the community safe. The Mexican states even passed a law expanding rights to kill in self-defense in 2017, trying to give its people more power to protect themselves. Patricio once argues that it would be wrong to dismiss the utility of self-defense altogether, particularly in an age rife with civil conflict. So, what are the effects of the Mexican self-defense groups? Here comes to the positive and negative effect. Despite the Mexican self-defense groups decrease the crimes to some extent, they may abuse their privileges to take advantage of the political vacuums. When states are unable or unwilling to provide security, local self-defense groups may be an imperfect but effective alternative, according to Patricio. From 2013 to 2018, the rate of homicides indeed decreases because of the Mexican self-defense groups. This is because the majority of them have the clear motivation, which is to protect their communities against the crime. They know more about their local areas and residents. Also, it is cheaper and faster for them to aggregate a large number of men. However, some of them may abuse their privileges to take advantage of the political vacuums, and this is the negative effect of the self-defense groups. Since the organization is spontaneously organized by the rural residents, it would be difficult to be controlled by the government. Also, they patrol and defend themselves with the rifles, so sometimes it will enhance the insecurity. They can exacerbate the violence, undermine the rule of law, violate citizens' rights, and spread crime. The rise of self-defense groups does not deal with the crime radically. It may further lead to the conflict between the formal and informal security forces, thus creating a positive relationship between the self-defense groups and the government may be a better approach for Mexico to protect its residents. Now let's move on to the conclusion part. Sorry for the ads. The rise and expansion of Mexican self-defense groups results from the higher homicide crime and the inability or unwillingness of the government. It also further results in the decrease of crime to some extent and the abuse of privileges. Coordination between formal and informal security forces is recommended to protect its residents.